So you met Michael Jackson?
Yeah, so I met Michael. I think that probably really solidified a strong connection with Michael. Because, I keep thinking at that time, I wonder what he would have thought to get the security to part the crowd. Because, we were the youngest kids there, and the crowd environment was just so hectic and intense. So he clearly cared about our well-being enough that he wanted to make sure that we had our time with him.
And which year was this?
This was in 1996.
Wow, and this was when he was on peak.
This is when he was, this was kind of after the allegations. So, I would say he was kind of maybe slowly in the fall. But Aussie media was just so
of course,
big on Michael. Yeah, and I think it was the first tour that he came back to since I think the 80s, like 87 was the bad tour, and then he came for History in 96. So just 9 years. Yeah, so
Jermaine, I mean, being a Michael Jackson fan, and I'm a Michael Jackson fan myself, okay? So I'm like, whoa, I'm so glad our paths crossed. And how do you deal with these allegations that came out, with especially this documentary from Netflix, The Verdict, people proving that he was maybe doing things like that. But as a fan, how do you feel? Do you feel like, because if I'm being honest, I'm a fan and I 100% still don't believe it.
Yeah.
If I'm being very honest. But what do you do as a fan?
I was 3 years old when I met Michael Jackson.
I agree.
I want to know what he actually thought of us. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a thing I owe to myself. So I had to really distance myself from the fandom for a second, really look into this and go, did he actually think of me this way or that way? And my conclusion is I don't think he did any of that. I don't think Michael Jackson, I think Michael was a victim of a very elaborate scheme because he just had so much power. And but that being said, I just play it very carefully because at the same time, I know these people who have their conclusions. I think one thing in common that Michael fans and people who believe in the allegations have is that we care about the safety and well-being of children.
Of course.
And I think that's Michael's message. And I think no matter how you see this situation, if we both care about the safety and well-being of children, then we can't really debate on that fact. It's up to them if they want to research and have a look at what the truth is, really. So it's my stance.
That's a very good answer, and I think that's very, very important for us fans to hear that, because people may not believe what we are feeling, but then you're saying you've done your research, and even I was like, I grew up with that. My uncle was a massive Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah.
He would cry for him, and even my sister and myself. So it's very interesting to know that we now are in a time where that information is out there, and you have to stick with it, but also you have to be very careful how you maneuver around that situation.
Oh, absolutely. And I think at the same time, if you give people the grace and the openness of them going, if you really want to, you can have a look, and if you give people the space for them to want to go and look into the truth or look into what actually happened, it's likely they will.
Yeah.
I think the moment you pressure them or the moment you put a lot of weight onto them, you're only just going to get these people to further believe what the traditional media narrative is. You got to give them the space to breathe and to look into it, I think.
Don't forget to listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast from.